Not everyone who sounds respectful actually respects you. Sometimes the nicest voice hides the clearest disrespect. And if you can't spot that early, you'll get manipulated before you even notice. Most people think respect is easy to recognize. They assume if someone speaks politely, smiles at them, calls them bro, sir, madam, or uses a calm tone, then that must mean the person genuinely respects them. But that is not always true. Sometimes the people who sound the most respectful are the same ones who are quietly testing your boundaries, studying your reactions, and looking for a weak spot. And if you do not know how to recognize fake respect early, you can end up giving trust, access, and attention to people who never meant well in the first place. Fake respect is dangerous because it does not usually arrive as open hostility. Open disrespect is easy to deal with. If someone insults you directly, ignores you clearly, or treats you badly in front of others, you can see it. You can feel it. You can respond to it. But fake respect is different. Fake respect wears a mask. It often comes with a smooth voice, perfect timing, selective compliments, and just enough politeness to keep you comfortable. That is what makes it so effective. Because once someone makes you feel safe, they can observe you more easily. Once you lower your guard, they can learn what bothers you, what you tolerate, and how much access they can get without resistance. So in this video, I want to break down how to spot fake respect before it becomes a problem. Not just by what people say, but by what they do, by when they do it, and by how they behave when they do not get what they want. Because real respect is consistent. Fake respect is conditional. And the difference between the two can change the way people treat you. The first sign, respect only appears when others are watching. One of the clearest signs of fake respect is consistency, or more accurately, the lack of it. Some people become very polite in public. They speak carefully when there are witnesses. They act calm when other people are around. They may even go out of their way to appear humble or considerate. But then the moment the audience disappears, the tone changes. The warmth disappears. The patience disappears. The respect disappears. That is a huge red flag. Because real respect does not need an audience. Real respect does not depend on whether someone is being observed. A person who truly respects you will usually show the same general behavior in private that they show in public. They may not always be perfect, but their baseline does not change every time the social environment changes. Fake respect, on the other hand, is performance. It is image management. It is the kind of behavior people use when they want to be seen as decent without actually being decent. And this matters because public respect can still be a tool of control. Some people are not polite because they care about you. They are polite because it benefits them to look good. They know that if they seem respectful in front of others, they can protect their reputation, keep access to your trust, and avoid suspicion. Then when nobody is watching, they get more relaxed, more careless, more revealing. That is why you should pay attention to what happens when the room changes. What do they sound like when they do not need to impress anyone? Do they still speak to you with the same care? Do they still treat your boundaries seriously? Do they still remember your comfort when no one else is around? If the answer is no, then the respect was probably never real. It was just convenient. The second sign, the compliment feels slightly off. Fake respect often hides inside compliments. That is one of the reasons it is so hard to catch. Because people assume a compliment is always positive. But not every compliment is pure. Not every nice sentence comes from a good place. Some compliments are honest. Some are strategic. And some are designed to make you lower your guard. For example, a fake compliment often has a strange feeling behind it. It may sound supportive, but something in the tone feels slightly forced. It may sound friendly, but it lands in a way that does not feel warm. It may sound admiring, but at the same time it seems to create distance or subtle superiority. That is the key. Fake respect often comes with a hidden imbalance. The person may praise you in a way that still keeps them above you. They may say something flattering, but the wording reveals that they are evaluating you instead of appreciating you. They may compliment you, but the compliment feels like it is really there to gather information, or to make you trust them, or to make you feel indebted. This is why you should not only listen to the words. You should also ask yourself, what is the energy behind this? Does the compliment feel natural? Or does it feel like someone is carefully placing a small piece of bait in front of you? There is a difference between genuine appreciation and manipulative praise. Genuine appreciation feels clean. It feels simple. It does not ask for a return. Manipulative praise often feels like a setup. It creates a small emotional debt. It makes you feel seen just enough to let your guard down. Then later, when they need something from you, they can use that emotional access. That is why you should be careful with people whose kindness always seems to have a purpose. Not every kind word is a trap, but fake respect often starts exactly there. The third sign, they disappear the moment you say no. This is one of the most important tests of all. How does someone react when you set a boundary? Because boundaries reveal truth. A lot of people can sound respectful when they are getting what they want. But the real test begins when you refuse. When you say no. When you do not give them the access, the attention, the favor, the agreement, or the response they were hoping for. If the respect is real, the person may be disappointed, but they will still behave like a decent human being. If the respect is fake, the mask begins to slip immediately. They may become cold. They may get passive-aggressive. They may suddenly act offended. They may try to guilt-trip you. They may act like you have betrayed them just by having a boundary. That reaction says a lot. Because fake respect is often not about valuing you as a person. It is about valuing what they can get from you. The moment you become difficult to use, their politeness starts to disappear. That is the sign you are not dealing with respect. You were dealing with access. And once access is denied, the real attitude comes out. This is why you should watch people not only when they receive a yes, but also when they receive a no. A respectful person understands that no is a complete sentence. A manipulative person sees no as a challenge. A respectful person may not love your boundary, but they understand it. A manipulative person interprets your boundary as a threat to their control. That difference is everything. Because if someone only respects you while you are useful, agreeable, or available, then they do not really respect you. They respect the convenience you provide. The fourth sign, they listen to respond, not to understand. Fake respect often shows up in conversation. A person may appear attentive. They may nod at the right time. They may smile. They may even ask questions. But if you pay close attention, you will notice that they are not truly listening. They are waiting for their turn. They are collecting information. They are preparing their next move. They are listening to respond, not to understand. This matters because respectful communication requires presence. It requires some level of openness. It requires a genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Fake respect, however, often turns conversation into strategy. The person may seem engaged, but their real goal is not connection. It is positioning. They want to know what makes you emotional. They want to know where you are uncertain. They want to know what details they can use later. They may ask questions that seem friendly, but the structure of the conversation tells another story. For example, they may interrupt too often. They may quickly redirect the discussion back to themselves. They may agree with you on the surface, but subtly contradict your point through tone, facial expression, or follow-up comments. This creates a strange feeling. You leave the conversation thinking, they were polite, but I do not feel understood. That feeling matters. Because people can be respectful in language while being disrespectful in intention. So if someone always seems to be studying you, but never actually sees you, then you need to take that seriously. Real respect includes attention. Fake respect only includes observation. The fifth sign, they only admire your strengths when those strengths help them. This is another subtle one. Fake respect often sounds like admiration, but the admiration is selective. The person respects your talent when it benefits them. They like your confidence when it makes them look connected to you. They appreciate your knowledge when they need your help. They praise your work when they can use your success to improve their own image. But as soon as your strength becomes inconvenient, their attitude changes. They become less supportive, less warm, less admiring. This tells you that their respect is not for you. It is for the utility of your qualities. And that is a huge difference. Because a lot of people mistake usefulness for respect. If someone only values what you can do for them, that is not respect. That is extraction. A respectful person can appreciate your strengths without trying to turn them into a tool. A manipulative person sees your strengths as resources. And resources are things people consume. That is why fake respect often disappears when you stop being useful in a practical way. The praise was never about your character. It was about access to your value. So ask yourself, does this person respect me when I am not helping them? Do they still value me when there is nothing to gain? Do they still speak well of me when I am not useful? If the answer is no, then the respect was conditional. And conditional respect is often just a polite form of self-interest. The sixth sign, they become uncomfortable when you become confident. This one is important because fake respect often has a hidden insecurity inside it. Some people like you best when you are uncertain. They feel most comfortable when you are easy to manage. When you speak softly. When you hesitate. When you ask for approval. When you act like you need them. But the moment you become grounded, their behavior changes. They get tense. They get quieter. They may suddenly become more critical. They may try to humble you. They may start making subtle jokes that reduce your confidence. This happens because your confidence changes the power dynamic. When you become more certain of yourself, fake respect has less room to operate. It is easier to manipulate someone who doubts themselves. It is harder to manipulate someone who trusts their own judgment. So sometimes people who appear respectful actually become threatened when you grow stronger. They do not know how to deal with someone who no longer needs to be managed. That is when the respect becomes less sweet and more suspicious. Because genuine respect usually celebrates growth. Fake respect often resents it. It likes you best when you are easier to influence. If your confidence exposes their insecurity, they may start acting differently. That is not your fault. That is information. And information like that is valuable. The seventh sign. They are polite, but they keep crossing lines. This is where a lot of people get confused. Because they think disrespect must be loud. They think a person must insult them or openly attack them for it to count. But that is not how it always works. Some of the most disrespectful people are also the most polite in wording. They speak softly while crossing boundaries. They smile while ignoring your comfort. They say, "I was just joking," after pushing too far. They act innocent after creating discomfort. That is fake respect in action. It uses polite language to hide boundary violations. This is dangerous because many people hesitate to challenge it. They do not want to seem rude. They do not want to overreact. They do not want to misjudge someone who appears nice. And that hesitation gives the fake respectful person more space to keep crossing lines. If someone repeatedly ignores your boundaries but does it in a calm voice, do not let the calm voice fool you. The violation is still the violation. Tone does not erase behavior. That is one of the most important lessons here. Respect is not proven by sounding nice. Respect is proven by respecting limits. If someone keeps stepping over the line and then acting confused when you react, they are not being respectful. They are testing you. How to respond without overreacting. Now, spotting fake respect is only half the battle. The next question is, what do you do about it? The answer is not to become paranoid. The answer is not to accuse everyone of having bad intentions. The answer is to become observant, calm, and difficult to manipulate. You do that by responding with clarity instead of emotion. Here are a few rules. First, do not rush to trust someone just because they sound polite. Let behavior prove what words claim. Second, pay attention to consistency. One nice moment does not matter if the pattern is wrong. Third, trust boundaries. If someone resists your limits, that is a sign. Fourth, reduce the amount of personal information you give to people who have not earned your confidence. Fake respect feeds on access. The more access you give too early, the more room they have to shape the relationship. Fifth, speak less when you sense something off. You do not need to argue with every suspicious person. Sometimes you just need to observe, step back, and see what they do next. That is often the clearest answer. Because fake respect usually cannot survive under patience and boundaries. The deeper truth. At the deepest level, fake respect is not really about manners. It is about power. Some people use respect as a costume. They wear it when it helps them get closer to you. They use it to lower your defenses, to keep access, to avoid confrontation, or to protect their image. But the moment their goal changes, the respect changes too. That is why you should never judge someone only by how nice they sound. Nice sound is cheap. Real respect has structure. It has consistency. It has restraint. It has honesty. It has boundaries. And most importantly, it does not disappear the moment you become inconvenient. That is the real test. Not how someone acts when everything is easy, but how they act when they cannot get what they want from you. So if you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. Fake respect is often polite on the surface and selfish underneath. It appears when it is useful. It fades when it is challenged. It smiles when it wants access. It withdraws when you set a boundary. And once you learn to see that pattern, you stop confusing performance with character. You stop handing trust to people who have not earned it. You stop calling manipulation kindness. And you begin to understand something important. Respect is not proven by what people say when things are easy. Respect is proven by what they do when they do not get their way.